Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, am I audible?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we have with us Professor H. Prathap Kumar Shetty, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, 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 please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So, dear participants, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Professor H. Prathap Kumar Shetty, sir. So, briefly, I will introduce because he has a very beautiful profile. Professor Shetty is currently Dean School of Life Sciences and Professor at the Department of Food Science and Technology, University of Pondicherry.
No voice is coming. Yes, sir.
If something went wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So after I think the working as lecturer from Mangalore University, he moved to US, that is University of Texas Health Center at Taylor, Texas, USA as postdoctoral fellow, and worked there for 2 years from 2000 to 2002. Then he moved to Denmark and worked as assistant professor at Department of Food Science, Copenhagen University from 2003 to 2006. Then again, he moved to Aarhus University, worked at Department of Genetics and Biotechnology as senior scientist from 2006 to 2009. And in the year 2009, he joined Pondicherry University as leader and headed the department for more than 8 years. And Professor Shetty contributed immensely to the university administration by actively participating in various university committees, including member of university statutory bodies. And he worked as the first dean of research of the university, heading the R&D section for 2 years from 2019 to 21. And during that tenure, he formulated university research policies, consultancy, and industry interaction policies, mandatory research committees such as institutional human ethics committee, biosafety committee, etc. And Professor Shetty has successfully so far guided 11 PhD scholars and more than 100 master's project students, and mentored 8 postdoctoral scientists till date. And he has mobilized a number of R&D and consultancy projects from various funding agencies. And so far, he has published several research publications in high impact scientific journals. And he has 2 patent to his credits, and edited a book, and written 7 book chapters, and delivered many invited talks and lectures. In the year 2019, Professor Shetty has been awarded with Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, UK, and has been awarded the UGC Mid-Career Award in the year 2020. He has completed LEAP, a high-level training of MHRD training at IIT Kanpur in 2020 to 22. And he is currently serving as member of governing body of DBT National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, that is NABI, and DBT Center for Innovation and Applied Bioprocessing, that is CIAB, Mohali, and a member of Board of Studies of various universities. And he is also a adjunct professor at the Tennessee State University, USA. In addition to teaching and research, he is actively involved in advising the government agencies on food safety issues, including various committees of food safety and standard authorities of India, that is FSSAI, and expert member of the member of expert committee of SERB, CSIR, ICMR, BIRAC, as well as EPIDA. He had also served as a national president of Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India in the year 2015, and executive member of National Society of India, Nutrition Society of India from 2014 to 19, and now again he is elected for the year 22 and 25. So with this brief introduction, I think it is a great pleasure to hear you, sir. I request Professor Prathap Kumar Shetty to present his talk on food, gut, and you. Over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Rajkumar. It's very nice. Anyway, it's people are fed up with the food already. It's a post-lunch session. But anyway, what I'm talking about the food is slightly different than what we hear scientifically. What I will try to do is in the beginning, I will give a little bit of historical aspects, then move on to gut and so on and so forth. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. Just a question, Dr. Rajkumar, how many people are there? How many participants are there?
33 participants are there.
Background?
They are of have a botany from the botany, zoology, biochemistry, food science and technology, home science.
Okay. All are life science. All are life science people, right?
Yes, sir.
All are life science people.
Yeah, all are life science people, and it is a heterogeneous group. They are from different streams, actually.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, just for my information, I was asking.
Yes. And the food science and technology students are also there, actually.
No, I'm not restricting myself to food side. Even though I'm talking about food, it's more life science based. That's the reason I was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First, I just would like to give a little bit of a background. This first slide, what I'm putting, the last slide I'm going to put later, have something in common. That's the reason. Please remember this when we finish the lecture. It's 1.5 hours, right? By 3:30, right? I will try to wind up by 3:15 so that we can have a 15 minutes interaction.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this fire and the discovery of fire, I have put it for some specific reasons. Number one, this is one of those greatest discoveries ever, which by human race, which has taken a leap in terms of the way human beings lived, the way they colonized, the way they ate food, and the way they protected themselves. That is number one. Number two, why I'm trying to bring this in is this also on the other way is a story which can be made for research. What is research? What is scientific research? There are two things. All of us know very well that there are two components in scientific research. One is discovery. Other one is invention. Third one, anyway, most important, which is a product of both discovery and invention, is technology. Therefore, what is the link and what's the difference? What is the outcome of these three things? Discovery of fire. Fire was there before, even much before humans, found it out. But all the animals, that is, whom we call as animals, very well, the ones whom we think don't have a brain which is logical and scientifically achievable, and they're all scared of the fire. And the same is early humans also, because they were always thinking fire as a kind of act of God, which is coming once in a while. And in some ways they used to say, I don't know how many of you have seen this Jungle Book series. In that they say orange fire or red fire or whatever it is. Therefore, it used to be bringing a kind of a devotion and scare. And over the years, these early humans were observing this, and there were very smart few of them observed that this happens only when the weather is dry. And fires used to be mostly in in the forest areas when it is summer, dry, and that's the first observation. Second observation was that some of these smart people, smart early humans, also found out that this used to happen when the animals are running. And when the animals are running, stones hit each other, and when the stones hit each other, spark comes. From the spark, fire came. Anyway, every one of the humans didn't see this. A few of them came out with that. That means there was an issue, either a problem or an observation, and they looked it into keenly and made some hypothesis. What was the hypothesis? This happens when the conditions for fire exist, number one. Number two, when the animals run, the stones hit each other and the fires come. This was the observation, problem, observation. Based on this, they made a hypothesis. Then few of those scientists of the cave men and women, they started collecting stones and hitting each other, hitting the stones to each other to find out whether the spark can be created. They realized that there were, yes, few specific stones. When you hit at each other, you are getting a spark. That means observation, problem, observation. Then they did an experimentation. From the experimentation, they found out that they can actually create the fire by themselves. They don't need an act of God to have the fire. That means now they had discovered that fire can be created. And now they collected similar, larger stones of this type, and they are able to produce fire at will. That means they now have a technology in their hand. When you have a technology in the hand, what is the first thing you come to your mind? That this technology can be used for various purposes. Yes, we can keep ourselves warm. We can road away animals. This is a asset in my hand which can actually road away my enemies. They are also scared that I have something new which they don't have. That was for protection. That means they have used this technology for their benefit, and slowly some of their own started using this against their enemies. Okay, when they go and attack their enemy groups, they started burning their huts and so on and so forth. That means now the misuse or what do you call negative use of the technology also has started. Now, don't you think this is an entire story of what a research is? That is starting from a problem, observation, hypothesis, experimentation, and development of a technology, use of technology for good purposes, bad purposes, and so on and so forth. Why am I putting this? As to show what science means, not the laboratory, what science means, not what we are doing with cutting edge technologies today, but anything which is done in a systematic way also qualifies as research. But when it comes to food, why am I telling this story? Even with respect to food, if fire was not there, we would not have enjoyed a lot of those things we are enjoying today, because of food, because of the application of fire. Now we know you don't have to use the stone anymore. You don't have to use firewood anymore. You can use many other things to make fire. But today we have reached a stage in technologically, we can even cook food without any fire. You can create a heat. You can have, induction cooking. You can even fry in the air without oil. You can do microwaving and so on and so forth. Let's keep this aside for a while. This is a book. I don't know how many of you have the habit of reading. I don't know how many of you read books on Kindle, Audible, and so on and so forth. This particular book, I would encourage, if any of you have any interest in anthropology, history of humans, and so on and so forth, you should read this book. It's for free on Kindle, and it's hardly few hundred rupees on Amazon. And this actually tries to talk about how the humans are developed and what we think is the human history and what is actually the human history are two different things. But anyway, now let's come to what we are here for today. Definition of food. Again, I'm not going to read through it, but if you go through this, you see that almost all items, all ideas about food, what we are thinking of is here. Starting from where it comes from, what it does to you, and what is the purpose of what we are eating the food. Now, when you say food, what are we talking about? The materials of plant origin, animal origin, seafood origin, and and even the microbial origin foods. And all these, starting from plant, animal, seafood, or microbial origin food, all these are naturally balanced. What do you mean by that? When you say raw materials or raw ingredient, for example, take a grain, rice, wheat, and so on and so forth. When rice grain is a grain without processing, has carbohydrates. Yes, it is rich in carbohydrates, rich and a mixture of simple and complex carbohydrates. It has bran, which has polysaccharides. it has oil, it has protein, everything it is having. That means it is complete by itself, although it is relatively rich in carbohydrate. Same thing with the wheat. Same thing with any product, any natural product you take. You take fruits, you take meat, and so on and so forth. Therefore, majority of naturally available raw materials are to some extent balanced, yes, skewed towards certain things. For example, meat is more rich in protein and fat when compared to the cereals. And what is important is naturally balanced. Over the periods, what did we do as humans? Because as in the next slide, I'll be talking why this happened. So when raw materials are produced, they need to be kept for longer time, because the whole year you will not be able to produce the same food in the same way. Therefore, there is something called annual cycles, monthly cycles. There is a daily rhythms, and so on and so forth. Foods are also produced in different quantities in different times. Therefore, in the bargain of processing and preservation, with the intention of keeping it long, we also did something else. What is that? We wanted to make foods more palatable. What does that mean? That means we are looking for more and more taste and pleasure from food, because I was talking earlier also in the list of things, pleasure is one of those. Therefore, when we started doing this, we started, for example, rice and wheat or all other products. We started making them, in a broad, they used to make, boiled rice. They used to make rice with least processing, wheat with least processing, and so on and so forth. As our society developed, you started making it more and more refined. Therefore, if you go back 20 years ago, the brown rice was less expensive than white rice. Brown bread or the rough bread was less expensive than the white bread. And the same way, processed oil is much, much costlier than the raw oil or the gunny oil. What happened? Again, something else happened. In just a matter of 20, 30 years, we are back in which jaggery costs more than sugar. Unprocessed oil is costlier than the processed or the refined oil. White bread is less expensive than the brown or the whole wheat bread. Red rice is more expensive than white rice, and so on and so forth. That means what happened? The technology goes on changing, but what changes the market is not the technology. Yes, technology can change the society for some time, but who rules the market is actually us, who are the consumers. And who made consumers to demand this is science again, because scientifically we found out that because of over-processing, we actually lose something. It's going to be having a negative effect on us. Slowly it has started, and I'm not putting those graphs. These small change in mindset, changes in a small way, and it crosses the what is required to make a revolution in the society. Just between 1990 and 2000, things changed. Therefore, the whole thing has come back. What I was talking about now, that you are looking for more and more, you are looking more and more for less and less processed things. In the same way, dark brown to white, dark brown, that is jaggery to sugar to jaggery. And whole intention is to keep it for longer time. Food preparations. All of us know very well that even preparation of food is science. Okay, what is there to cook? There is a protocol. You have the recipe. You start working with it. No, even if you give the same recipe to 10 people with the same ingredients, the 10 people will cook it differently. Then what is the difference? What is happening? Therefore, even this is like science. Therefore, even when we are standardizing something for a commercial purpose, it is standardized in such a way that every small things are taken into consideration. In food science, there is a field called molecular gastronomy. That means you will also try to see what are those molecular changes which has happened in the food when you have made that in a scientific way. Consumption of food, even consumption of food has science, especially if you go to ancient cultures like Indian culture, other Asian cultures, there is a lot of importance is given to how much, how the food has to be consumed. What are the underbelly during food consumption? Like, for example, that, you have to sit and eat, you have to pray and eat, you have to, be very, you have to have cleanliness while eating, and so on and so forth. Therefore, you have to be calm while you are eating. All those things have come back. Now the scientifically also it is proved that when you sit and eat, when you eat by hand or when you eat after praying or after in a calm mind, the way food gets assimilated is different when compared to you are eating in a hurry. For example, go on the road somewhere, you stand, eat something, dump something, your stomach can go. Food gets assimilated at that time much differently than you sit in a proper posture, eat with in a proper calm mind, eat in a group, eat happily, and so on and so forth. That's a huge difference. Therefore, if you go back to our ancient texts, you have texts about cooking, Pak Shastra of Nal Maharaj. You have, about consumption, about how the food is made, how the food is eaten. They have written at length. Therefore, now with respect to food, we have raw foods, cooked food, and processed food. There is a lot of, what do you call, myths and science. I will not go into that, but when you are eating raw food, the precautions and things to be taken care of are different than when you're eating cooked food or when compared to processed food. For example, raw food. Because you know that as far as our Indian culture is concerned, there are only a few things which we used to eat raw in the salad form. It's right, for example, onions and, maximum a cucumber used to be there. But now today, we know the importance of some disturbance. I think they can be muted. Yeah. Today, we know that there are importance of salads and raw foods. Therefore, people are adapting this more and more. Please remember that many times what happens is when something is implemented with half knowledge can become dangerous. For example, there are many. I'm not taking an example of all of those. Otherwise, we will be going in that direction. Simplest example, I'm taking carrot. Carrot is very healthy. Raw carrot is very good, and it has lots of nutrients, and it has when compared to cooked carrot, raw carrot tastes better, feels better, and so on and so forth. But when you use this raw carrot without taking proper precautions, you can end up in a hospital, or you can, if you are unlucky, you can end up with a cyst in your brain. What do you mean by that? That means I shouldn't eat carrot? No. If I'm not saying somebody shouldn't eat carrot. The same thing is with salads. For example, if a salad vegetables come from a reliable source, it is fine. Otherwise, when it comes from not so reliable source, it might also a source of contamination of bacteria, heavy metals, and so on and so forth, where you can get into trouble. Therefore, when you are trying to eat a carrot raw, what is that risk which is associated? It's not just with carrot, with most of those vegetables which are underground, which are grown inside the soil, that if the hygienity of the soil is not good. I can't say that what is hygienity of soil, because everything is organic. But if the carrot is not properly taken care of, it is not properly washed and cleaned before it is consumed, there are some protozoans which put their eggs in that. Those eggs can actually affect us, and some of them can end up through the bloodstream to the brain and cause cysts. Therefore, what is always suggested that yes, if you would like to enjoy the carrot in its raw form, wash it very well. You can also wash it with vinegar and salt. Also, there is another way, what we call it as heat blanching. In fact, you can allow the water to boil. Just keep it in the boiling water for a minute or two, take it out and then cut. Not blanching after the cutting. Just peel it, put it in, dump it in boiling water for a minute and a half. Then after washing, you blanch this, take it, then use it. It will be still hard, it will be still crunchy, but it will be devoid of these. But it's just one of the examples I'm doing. Therefore, when we try to adapt something which is not traditionally part of our society, we might get into some problems suddenly. Then you will, oh my God, I don't know what happened, because by the time you come to know, it's a couple of years. Why food? All of us know very well that we eat food for extinguishing hunger. Definitely. Second thing is taste. Yes, we eat food for taste, because if something is not tasty, we don't like to eat. Next one is social behavior.